you could just remember every lyric and you could remember where you were when you first heard that song. So yeah, it takes me back to Brooklyn.
Welcome to Message Reveal. Message Reveal identifies a vibe, a message, or a story told through lyrics of a song. And you guys, if you rock with me every week, you know what I do. You know how I do it. I tell you something about our special guest. So let's get to business and let's talk about this special guest of mine. And remember, it's only a few things. One, he's an entrepreneur. We can't wait to dive in and massage and find out all that good information. He's also an author. And last but not least, one of his biggest things, I would say, he is a small business advocate. You guys, please put your hands together and welcome my special guest, Mr. Shaundell Newsome.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you, sir?
You know what? I feel great. It's been an incredible year already. It's been incredible for many reasons. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful to everything that has been brought to me this year.
Awesome. Well, you're looking good. You got a great smile. And I say to any of my guests, you said yes to me, so I so appreciate you.
It's my pleasure, of course.
Thank you. So, before we even get to business, let's give you a congratulations. Something happened in February. You were appointed to something. So can you talk about that first? Congratulations.
Thank you. I was appointed to the Small Business Advisory Board as the chairman. I was installed as the chairman for the Nevada Small Business Development Center, which across our state provides technical assistance and guidance and counselors for small business for our small businesses in Nevada.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And I must point out, he is not a one time, not a two time, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, a three-time Small Business Award winner. Am I correct on that?
You are correct as of yesterday, because yesterday I got my fourth SBA award. It was for Boots to Business. The Small Business Administration recognized several of us who are instructors for the Boots to Business program, which teaches military members when they transition how to start a business, how to get the mindset of entrepreneurship. So I won that award nationally just yesterday.
Wow. Listen, it just as they say, it keeps getting better and better.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, before we go down your military journey and your small business journey, let's talk about something that I absolutely love, and that's music. It has turned me all the way out in such a
Me too.
wonderful way. See, so we on the same page
We
then.
love music. We love music.
Yes, it just does something. Like I tell people, it's my counselor. It soothes me when I need to go, as they say, hard in the paint and get hype. It does that as well. So I have a question for you regarding music, sir.
Okay.
Can you identify a song that has blessed you, distracted you, or provided perspective? Now,
Wow.
or blessings. But
Sure.
before you answer, there's a couple of rules to this, okay? Now, since you love music like I do, if you can sing, I need you to sing your throat box out, however you do it.
I got you.
But if you can rap, I know you got some history, back in the day when you did some stuff for the hip hop guys. If you can rap, I need you to come hard in the paint. But
All right.
if you cannot do either or, I need you to say it with passion. You know, when they say in the streets, stand 10 toes down, I need to be able to feel what you're talking about. I need you to
I got
express
you.
the lyric. So we'll go back to the original question. Can you
Okay.
identify a song that provides lessons, blessings, or distraction?
So as early as I can remember, and it was probably when I was like 7 or 8 years old when I first entered into the church, it was Yes, Jesus Loves Me. It was Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me, for the Bible tells me so. So that's carried me throughout my entire life. It's just a song that when you go back, it takes you back to childhood, but it also brings you forward to adulthood, and you realize that you were always loved.
Come on now. I love that. I love that. And thank you for singing too. We got to give you a clap clap for that. I love that you hinted or you put the root in that it served you as a child, but it also serves you right now. And do you think if you had not had that little piece of that song, would it have carried you through your trials and tribulations that you
I,
may have went through?
yeah, I think the hardest thing for men, and I'll say this especially black men, is to find love and understand what love really is. I remember is when I was a little kid, even younger than that, my grandmother used to say, "You're the prettiest little dark baby I ever seen in my life, and I love you." And so that brings me to that. But then I also, when my grandmother passed away, I had to look deep and say, "Oh yeah, you know what? Jesus loves me." So Jesus is the constant, and it makes sure that I understand that I'm loved. Most men have issue because they don't feel loved.
Mm,
Whether they were abandoned by their father or had issues with their mom or whatever it is, but Jesus is the constant for me. It doesn't matter.
I love that. Yeah, the topic of love is always very complex. It can be very sensitive. It's from different people's perspective because how I see love may not be how you see love, as you reference to how men see love. So I'm thankful that you brought that up so someone can begin to think about their perspective of love and know that your creator, however you choose, whether you call it Jesus, your creator, God, whatever, because you was created alone, you are loved.
Yes. Yes. And the journey. I always my granddaughter brought over her fiance one time and he said, "Where do you get this men love thing from?" And I said, "Well, it comes back from Corinthians when, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I behaved like a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things." But the scriptures that lead up to that in Corinthians is all about love. And that's
Mm.
the part I think people miss is that men are we are made to love. That's another song like Gerald Levert, "Made to Love You."
Come
Oh,
on.
get me started.
Made to love you. Okay, listen. You talking to the right person. We can talk all day. That was a good
Yes,
one. That was a
yes.
good one. So let's transition and talk about this foundation that you have created here in my native Las Vegas. Um, your business. And I'm just going to give you my mental perspective on it. I remember driving down the street and I hear this man on 88.1 talking about small businesses and giving little tricks and little clues and little things on what you should be doing. I say all that to say the name always stood out, Shaundell Newsome, because it's different, Shaundell. And I was always curious. And then over the years, I meet this person, they tell me, oh, yeah, he did this. It was just like a chain effect. Everybody knew who you were. So I want you to put on your memory cap and let's go back to the impetus of you saying, I'm going to do this. I understand you did some stuff. You're a native of Brooklyn, New York, correct? And
Yes.
that's where the story kind of started. But walk me through that process.
Wow. Well, it started with a guy named Lou. Well, not Lou. I was gonna say Lou, but with Lou Edna Graphics. Michael Collins. Michael Collins was this entrepreneur in our church, a deacon. He used to take money and throw it in a plate, and every time we needed something, he always had it. He drove a Lincoln Town Car, dressed with a three-piece suit, looking like George Jefferson. So I was enamored by him. My friends were enamored with the folks in the streets who had the similar things, but they always seem to be disappearing. They either go to jail or they're dying or something has happened to them. But Michael was a constant. And so I latched on to him and he hired me as an intern. But then he also taught me how to start and grow a business because he would not allow me to do any flyers or posters or tape covers for rap artists in my neighborhood. So I just said, I'll do it on my own. But he also gave me the foundation of how to do it. So that's where it started. That was in 1982. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So I came to Vegas in '87 by way of the Air Force and spent 10 years and got out in '96. I married a native, North Las Vegas, Arlene. And, I always had aspirations to get back to entrepreneurship. I worked for Station Casinos, which is now today and have been for a while the largest locals gaming company in the world, and learned a lot more. And I saw how their family moved and what they were doing with their family. So I wanted to emulate that. I said, well, if I'm going to do a business, I want to do a family business. And that's where the idea started and came to in Las Vegas. And I looked at what was missing in Las Vegas, and not just missing in Las Vegas, but nationally. And that was to help small businesses do their marketing. So that's where I got it from. I traveled around the country and saw that small businesses struggled with acquiring customers and keeping customers long term.
That's very true. But I need to dig a little deeper.
Okay.
So you gave me the front face of it, but let's just talk about the process of wanting to have that passion to help individuals, because we know a lot of people that support marketing, but you have a knack or a passion for it. I remember looking at something with your military background, and you were a teacher or a communicator, or as you say, you like to start conversations. How does that intertwine and really support small businesses from your perspective?
So I think, when you look at the military, it is definitely one of the most complex operations globally. And the military has the ability to lose superstars. They could lose, you could have people who are great and they leave and the operation still goes. And so what I learned more in the military were really two things: innovation. Because I got here by way of drone technology, stealth technology, I looked at it and said, oh, anything is possible. So, but also I looked at how when you put together these pieces and you put together a great team, and we have some core values. The piece that is really personal is the core values. And for the Air Force, it's integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all that we do. My daughter served in the Air Force too, so even when she came to join our company, it reinforced to the next generation that these core values have to stick. So I recognize quickly in the military that you bring all these strangers together from all over the nation, and they learn how to execute and perform a mission or a task on such a high and complicated level. And that's one of the challenges, like when it comes to marketing, people don't realize that marketing is the full experience. It's not just you communicating out to people, but it's also how you receive that information and then you deliver on the promise that you say you're going to do to your customers or your vendors or your partners or the community. We take that very seriously.
It definitely sounds like that, and I love how you broke it down. But you also mentioned at one point that it's also spiritual. And I believe anything we
Very.
do, it starts, I say for me, it starts spiritually first and then it manifests physically. So can you just tap in a little bit? I know I'm giving you a lot, but can you talk about
No, that's
that?
fine. And that's good because one thing is that it's all about because you think about even this country when they talk about one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, one nation under God, right? So again, no matter which lens you look from, and I got friends who are of a Muslim faith, of Jewish faith, of non-denominational, we all have to come together on one accord, and that's where the spiritual aspect comes. Even behind me is 12 steps of marketing. 12 is spiritually completion. So you want to make sure you have a complete marketing program. You don't want to have it to where it's kind of floundering and doing that. Everything that we do have a foundation. The foundation for us as a company is Sumnu is family and faith, which just so happens to be the same thing our family looks at, family and faith. Those are the foundations that we stand on.
And those are the foundations when you're sitting down, maybe assessing a new small business that's coming on board. Are those some of the things that you try to implement or pull out so they can be successful?
Yeah, because the real deal is with small businesses, and this is what I did since we started 20 years ago, is say your business has a character and we have to pull that character out of you. It's not just your desire to want to be in business. There has to be a character that some customer, which we convert into loyal brand champions, and in order for you to get loyalty, they have to be attracted to your character. The character of your company is what people are attracted to. All of the other things are features. The
Mm,
value comes out of the character of the company. So that's where we start. And that's the part that most small businesses miss is they try to grab at everything. Everybody's my customer. Well, everybody's not your customer because your customer is going to come to your character. Does that make sense? Yeah.
absolutely. I just want to say this, sir. I don't know if you know, but guess what? Back here is an invisible pew, okay?
Okay.
You can't see them, I can't see them, but you're talking to somebody. Somebody got a free nugget just off of what you said. So thank you. We're going to give you a clap, clap for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll come back and we're going to discuss some more about the business process, but let's turn the tables and let's think about a time that you have sung a song, and I mean you was getting it, you was like, yes, you know how when you feel it, you really feel it. Oh
Wow.
man. And then all of a sudden you was like, wait 1 minute, I've been singing that song all this time and I thought it was this, and you at that moment you realized it was something else.
Wow, wow, that's a good one. I'll tell you, one that always stuck out to me, and I'm a big Teddy Pendergrass fan, was "Wake Up Everybody." And I remember sitting in my room as my father's like blaring this song. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed, no more backward thinking, time for thinking ahead. And I'm hearing as he's, smoking weed and drinking his private stock, my dad. Um, and I'm listening to this song, but that song resonates with me all the time, even today. It sticks with me. And I remember every time I turn around, I'm singing that song. It's like, uh, when there's good times in the country, wake up. When it's bad times and turbulent times, wake up. Even when it's times in our family when I'm like, wake up, right? And so I think that song resonates with me more than anything else. I know I'm an old soul.
No, no, it's nothing wrong. I love it. You really you're bringing back to my memory the words of the song. It is "Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed." Like to get your attention. And let's be real. That's what God does to us sometime when we're on the right path. Like,
Yeah,
hey, wake up, wake up.
yeah.
You listen, you're going to the left when you should be going to the right or the middle. So I love that. Thank you for sharing that. How old were you when you realized the true meaning of the song, or just it was instant?
It was at that time it was kind of speculative, but then later on when I got in the military, I started understanding a little bit more. But then when my father passed away in 2009, it really, really resonated because my father was one of those people who served in Vietnam, Black Panther, always thinking about especially Black people. And this is one thing that I'll share with audiences and people when I'm in DC or anywhere else, because I always get that question, Shaundell, what does that mean? Because it's not the same as white supremacy. It's Black people. The Black people just have Black pride because we were talking about how to lift us beyond all of the things that were negative. The Black history, for example, is all about talking about the things that lift us up. And despite all the things that have happened to us, how we rose above. So to wake up everybody to me was like it's a revolution. It's an eye opening, it's an awakening. It's saying, wake up all the doctors, wake up all the teachers, wake up all the men, work up all the business owners. It's like Teddy Pendergrass talked to everybody when it came to that song. So I realized later on when my father passed away, and by the way, at the same time we were going through the America's Great Recession, and we had almost lost our company at the same time. So when I went to Washington, D.C. and sat with Senator Harry Reid, I was in a funk. I was in a place, and it was like, wake up.
Mhm.
These folks are not listening to you. So that's how I became a small business advocate. I was sitting at a table with a bunch of folks from the chambers, and we were trying to resolve and get businesses back on track. And I said, we got to wake up. We got no more sleeping in bed, no more backwards thinking, time for thinking ahead. And that's when it really, really resonated. Yes, we had a Black president, but that didn't solve the problem.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a valid point that you made about that. That didn't solve the problem. Before we move on, anytime someone mentions someone that has passed on or transitioned on, I ask that you say your father's full name so we can
Absolutely.
honor him.
Bobby Newsome, Vietnam veteran, father of 7 children. Now, boy, they keep adding up. He has many, many grandchildren and great grandchildren. So he still lives with us today. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, Bobby was an amazing man, the ultimate measure of a man.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We love to highlight our loved ones. On my perspective, when we don't talk about them anymore, they have now passed a second time. So we have to continue to talk about them, elevate them, and tell the stories so our younger ones will know about them. So
Agreed. Yes. Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you. So you mentioned, as you were talking, you talked about Black history. Um, I just want to transition and talk about someone that has really made an impact in our community, and you just acknowledged and honored this person during Black History Month at Grits Cafe. And this family has been so um, important in the historic West Side or just Las Vegas as a whole. My sister, my baby sister, worked at Miss Cheney's daycare when she had that. Her daughter Gwen had a salon that I went to for many, many years, and we can go on and on. So, first, if you can tell me, why did you choose to honor Miss Cheney?
Well, I affectionately call her Mama Cheney. She was a person who really spoke to me like directly as if, she was my mom. And it was interesting that I live, 3,000 miles away from my parents in Brooklyn. So when she spoke to me and gave me like direct advice and counseling from that lens. And so I respected her. And listen, I'll be honest, I don't respect everybody, and I know why I don't. Because when I grow up as a kid who is in entrepreneurship, in small business, and I'm making $300 a week as a kid, right? In high school. I'm not inclined to listen to everybody's advice. So I know God sent her specially to talk to me because of her background and her experience. And she spoke to me like that. She resonated with me because she was an entrepreneur, small business owner. Like you said, she helped her daughters launch those businesses. And the way I met Gwen a long time ago. I met Brenda, who passed, Brenda
Yes.
Cheney. Loved her. I think she was the first one I met of her daughters. And then I met Trina. She introduced me to Trina, and she said to me, "Hey, I want you to help my daughter with building this business because she's going to need help. She's a firefighter. She's smart. She knows business. She
Can we
understands.
pause for a quick sec? Not only
Yes,
a firefighter, she was the
yes,
first
yes."
black woman firefighter in Southern Nevada, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I
And
just,
and fire investigator. Yeah. In Nevada, I think. I think it was in Nevada, period. But I
yes.
think it's amazing. And that was the part that really got me is like she said to me, I want you to help my daughter. I want you to work with her. And we, since then, me and Trina have been working on different things to help, initially launch the business and then help out in other ways. So they became like my sisters. And then eventually my mom came and met Miss Cheney, and then it was done. It was a wrap. Then she got all the intel she needed. So no, she was, and she's iconic, and I'm glad they put her in Legacy Park. I'm glad that she continues to get the recognition. I will always sing her praises. Most people don't know this, but I actually sit there where her recognition and her where they recognize Miss Cheney, not because I'm trying to be this VIP, if you want to call it that, but because every time I came in there, I sat in there and I talked to her, and I talked to Mr. Cheney as well. But I spoke with her almost every time I came in there.
Wow. Well,
Mhm.
in my head, the spirit says, seek wise counsel. She provided wise counsel. But let me also say, I'm just going to put it out there. It seems like every time I see you eating somewhere, you at Grits Cafe. Either I'm there too much or you there too much. Okay, I
Something
said,
like that.
oh, even to go, we're sitting there for a meeting. Hey, there we go. There's Shaundell. Hey, there we go. I said, okay, do we own stock here?
I love going in, and I love I dine at different places, small businesses all the time. I got a lot of different small, but grits is definitely the top of my list, and it's for those reasons. Like I met with people like Sam Smith in there, the late Mr. James Chaney, different people. I can see those people still
Mm,
as I'm, in there. Sometimes I'm just sitting there, and I'm remembering when I first went in there, and that's, it goes beyond support, because I know people say support the business, support, but it's really it's a personal thing, and a professional thing, but it's more personal than anything else.
I love it. I love that you acknowledge it. I was really happy and I had to bring it up because I thought that was wonderful to acknowledge her. We always have to give credit to those that are due the credit. So thank you and I clap you up for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, we got to go back to music. We're going to be volleyballing back and forth with the music.
All right.
So I need you to maybe close your eyes for a quick second and think about your childhood and think about you having some money, whether it was birthday, whether it was Christmas, or you just making your own money. And without anybody influence, you said, this is what I'm going to purchase, whether it was an album, a song, or an artist. Can you identify a song or artist or
I remember walking down to the record store on Broadway, and I purchased Sucker MCs.
Mm. And was that your soul? influence, or somebody told you to get it, or you just that was what you wanted to purchase all on your own?
It was kind of like it was just me thinking, what I remember I purchased three I actually purchased three different records at that time, but the one I remember the most was Sucker MCs because it really opened some doors uh to hip hop and that was and I remember you always wanted to put that on your speakers because it had that doom da 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 boom boom pa pa boom pa. It had that like, and you could put it on your stoop, and everybody's sitting there looking at you like, man, he made it. He got sucker MCs.
I love it. Does that bring back memory when you hear it, if you're out and about in the neighborhood and you hear it, do it make you pause for a minute and kind of rock?
I play it. You know what? What? Sometimes on a Saturday morning, I go back to all my old school. Whether it's it's Suck MCs is the one that really can't because it's like 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some MC rhyme, so I said this rhyme I'm about to say. The rhyme was deaf, but then it went this way, and then it's like you could just remember every lyric, and you can remember where you were when you first heard that song. So. Yeah, it takes me back to Brooklyn. It takes me back to riding the A train. It takes me back to all of those sounds and, over all the fire engine and sirens and noise you could hear sucker MCs.
Wow, I love it. And I love how music can put us in a spaceship and take us back or push us forward. I just
Yes.
love music.
Yep. It does.
So let's just talk about, we know you came to Vegas on your military, but what made you say, I'm going to make this home, being that you were from Brooklyn? What was the determining factors? And are you glad that you're here?
I'm definitely glad that I'm here. I'm glad to be in Nevada, and I'm glad to be in Southern Nevada. And really it boiled down to I was a single father with four kids in the military. I married Arlene, and she had four boys, so we had eight kids. So we had a family of 10. And people don't know that that transition from the military to civilian life in itself can be challenging. But when you have a whole family and you got to think about things and what you're going to do with that, it's tough. So spending 10 years in the Air Force, I had no desire to re-enlist and finish out another 10. And that was even before I met Arlene. I had no desire to want to do that. And I was actually going to head back to the southeast to Atlanta, Georgia. And a guy came to me and said, "Hey, if I had a chance to keep you in Vegas and recruit you, would you want to work in gaming?" And I said, I don't know what that is. I don't deal cards, or I don't know how to, I don't know how to fix machines or do that." He said, "No." He said, just let's have an interview. And I really didn't have an interview with him. He took me to lunch and we talked, and he got me a job at Station Casinos. And from there, I was thinking, wow, this is pretty cool. I didn't know all this stuff existed in the back end of operating a casino. It's like a whole business. It's like a whole different thing, which again, it appealed to me as a kid. I equate it to people talk about LeBron James going from, high school to the NBA. I went from the military to this top space in gaming when they were, transforming the whole industry. So it was really very special, and it spoke to me. So one that kept me here. My wife and the family kept me here. But then, if you're going to be somewhere, and this came from Reverend Scott, who's somebody I honor today, he said in the 90s when I was single father raising the kids, Reverend Scott said, young man, you're gonna do some great things in Nevada. I said, no way, sir. I'm not even gonna be here. So he said that back in the 90s. And then later on, Dr. Fowler was like, "Hey, if God has prescribed you to be here, this is where you're supposed to be." So, I saw those things as not so much as an opportunity, A lot of things that I do, I don't like to do or want to do, to be honest. I told my daughter that many times. I didn't want to be like a leader of something or in charge. I just wanted to take care of my family. But when God says yes, you got to respond in a different manner. So, I had a big family, a family of 10, but there were other things. And Mama Cheney was one that said, if God is telling you, don't listen to nobody else, go towards where he's taking you. And then Dr. Fowler, you say God will blow your mind.
Yes,
He's gonna
yes.
blow your mind. You're thinking one way, and I was thinking all the things on my level, and that lean not to your own understanding in the Bible. It's that level, and today I'm living that now. It's like I have no understanding of why people are recognizing me or people are wanting to talk to me or things like that. But I'm understanding more because people are explaining it to me.
Wow. And it seemed like God always provided someone in your journey to speak into your spirit that, again, that you trusted. Because I always say that too when you said that trust part. Wise counsel. People can speak into your spirit and you be like, I don't know about you. But it seems like you've always had that journey where someone was wise enough to speak to your future.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the biggest thing is my wife. My wife, we come from different worlds. I come from Brooklyn, she comes from Vegas. And the simplest, most basic thing is I rode the subway to school, she rode a bus to school, right? Something simple as that. In two different worlds, but we had a lot of commonalities, and it was the family, it was the faith, it was how we've never talked step. We don't have step kids. We've never talked step. We've always had we were not blended. We were blessed.
I love that. I love that. I feel like that's a great way for someone that may be blending their family, that is not step and it's not blending, it's blessed. I love
Yeah.
that. The
Hmm.
Brady Bunch 2.0, the black version.
But we didn't have Alice. Now remember, we couldn't afford Alice.
That's why I said the black version,
That's
okay?
right. You're
That's a
right.
whole, that means you made it work the best way you knew how.
Yes.
So before we transition, please say your wife's full name and acknowledge her in.
Absolutely. So my wife grew up in Valley View, in North Las Vegas as Arlene Glover. Um, uh, Today she's Arlene Newsome, and she's been the rock for our family for the last 31, 32 years. We're going to be married 30 years this year. It was the best thing that could happen for me. It was the best thing that could happen for my children and our family. So, when we came together, many people doubted, and this goes back to what Miss Cheney said, is that listen to what God is saying. God is saying this is going to be an incredible, incredible union.
Mm,
And many people don't see Arlene. She's behind the scenes doing things. But I always give her props. I always give her love. We actually don't celebrate Valentine's Day because love is something that we do every day.
wow.
We don't need to spend money to show love. We could just love on each other.
Yes.
So
No, no, I
mhm.
totally understand that. And I think I saw a video clip where you was like, look at this beautiful lady. And she walking to the car and you was like, I've loved her for, and she's walking to the car. And I thought that was a wonderful, playful way to continue to let people know, even though we've been in the game for this amount of years, that's still my girl.
That's
I
my
still
boo.
love her.
That's right. Oh, she
I'm
wasn't happy with that either. She was like, "You better stop."
Well, my perspective of her, every time I see her, she's the one behind the scenes. She's just very quiet. She does what she needs to do. Matter of fact, when I saw her at the Taste of Dreams, well, I think it was the Taste of Dreams. Oh, no, no, it was at the Gospel Fest. I was like,
Gospel.
hey, girl, you be behind the scenes. She was like, yes. Like, she acknowledged that. And it's okay. Everybody has to play their part. And it's no big eyes, it's no little U's, but everything works for the highest good. So we thank her for the part that she plays for your family.
She does. She's does a lot for a lot of people, and you know, I get a lot of different accolades and awards because I'm front and center. But I always share with them that that's really her award because she allows that space without like I don't come home and she's like nagging, "Where you been? What you doing? Why you in DC again?" You know, she's right. Really, she goes, "How'd it go? How are you feeling?" See, and I
Mm,
think that's one thing that people have to really think about. And I shared this, I think, on social that in 24, 23 and 24 was some very, very trying years. We were trying to get over the global pandemic, you know, kind of not restart, but grow the company, continue to grow some new. We did some workshops with Boss and Yes. We did some different things to help other small businesses while we were trying to recover. And then I went into the Super Bowl. I was on the Super Bowl host committee, where everybody's like, "Oh, that's pretty cool, Shaundell," but they don't realize the commitment that you make on a volunteer basis. It's not you don't get
mm.
paid to be on the Super Bowl host committee. Um, you know you're helping to promote Las Vegas on their very first Super Bowl. So while I appreciate it, it was a lot. It's always a lot. And then at the same time, my brother-in-law passed, and he was only like 45, 46 years old. I
Ooh,
had to fly to New York and be there for my baby sister
mm.
and her four kids, and then help her. You know, I was trying to make sure that I was a good big brother as well, on top of all the other things that happen with your kids and grandkids and different things. So in 2025, my wife said, I need you to pull back and we need to take care of you. So that's why I kept going to the VA, checking, not because, oh, I got sick. It was because I promised my wife that in 25, I was going to look after me more. So that's why I applaud her because most women would leave and say, I'm tired of this, tired of that. She like, no, I'm gonna let you pause and then let you come back and recharge.
I love that. I love the beauty and the wisdom of a woman. Okay, so
Yes.
we thank her for doing that and keeping you together because we still need you out here in these Las Vegas streets.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's that made to love you though.
Yeah,
Right?
come on now,
My
come
arms
on.
to hold you, my legs to stand, my time to spend with you forever. I was made to love you. And Gerald Levert is a favorite artist.
Oh, okay. So you that cool old school guy, laid back. Because if you say Gerald Levert, I already know who you are. Okay.
I got to tell you this funny story though. It was interesting. I had Gerald LSG was at Texas Station. You know, I was a marketing director at Texas Station, and my wife worked in the buffet. She was a assistant manager at the buffet, and this sometimes we drive separate because um, I may have some things to do later. Well, this time I tricked her and I said, "Well, you know, I'm good." And then we were getting ready to leave, and I said, "Hold on, I gotta go check on this concert." Now, my wife didn't realize that LSG Gerald Levert was part of LSG. She didn't realize it.
Uh
She was
oh.
just because she was into Gerald. She didn't like it's the funniest thing in the world. So I take her with backstage and I said, I gotta sign some checks. And she's like, why? See, you shouldn't have did this. She's mad at me now
Uh
because
oh.
you should have told me that we were gonna be staying later because I told you I'm tired, my feet hurt. Blah. I said, don't worry about it. So then we run into Johnny Gill. First, it was no, it was Kelly Price first. Kelly Price is, you know, getting off stage, coming in, and she's like, "Oh, that's nice. That's Kelly Price. Oh, cool." You know, my wife is like, "Okay, that's cool." Johnny Gill, and then she sees Keith Sweat, and she's like, "Oh, that's cool. Whatever, whatever." So I took her to Gerald Levert's dressing room, and she's not paying attention. She's mad. She's steaming.
Oh
She
oh.
gets to meet Gerald Levert, and she's like, oh my God, that's what you're doing." I, I caught her. I caught her. That's her favorite artist.
Oh my gosh. Did she get a chance to speak with him for a few seconds?
She got a chance to speak with him, and then when she got a little too close, I said, Gerald, let's just make sure you sing the songs. I take care of that one.
You like, brother, that's mine right there.
Right. But she
Oh,
did. She got to hug him. She got a picture with him. She loved it. It was really beautiful.
oh, that is a wonderful story. You know, sometimes you don't know. You like, wait a minute, I didn't told you, and then she realized, oh, you were surprising me. Oh, well, rest in heavenly peace, Gerald Levert. Yes,
Yes. Great
yes.
guy.
Very, very. That's a good story, and we needed to have that on record just in case to remind her every once in a while that you facilitate her meeting
Yeah.
Gerald Levert.
Yeah. I'll never
So
let her
since
forget it.
for sure, for sure. So since we're still talking about music, let's talk about, you've already alluded, you talked about some challenges in your life, whether it was yours personally or you assisting your sister or just challenges that we all have. I have challenges, you have challenges. And I say that because can you identify a song when your spirit is low and you just like, today is just not the day? What song can you put on to elevate your spirit and take it to the next level?
God favored me.
Come
Yes,
on.
God favored me, through everything. I always got to be reminded that through your trials, through your tribulations, through everything, God still is in control. When Mama Cheney passed, when Dr. Fowler passed, when my dad passed, when my in-laws passed, my brother-in-law, when you think about it and I remember sitting on my father's bed when my father passed away and I called Dr. Fowler and Dr. Fowler was like, what is God saying to you? And through every instant, God favors me. God
Mm,
looks out for me. God says, I had to go through my trials and tribulations as a single parent to appreciate a wife like Arlene. I had to,
mm,
understand things more. It created wisdom. And like you said, every time I turn around, I got somebody that came into my life. This man that came into my life to give me a job at Station Casinos, I didn't have a clue who he was. He actually met me when me and my kids, I was playing football with the Las Vegas Gamblers, and I was practicing, and my kids were sitting on the blanket, and I would during my practice I would go over and give them some snacks or do things with them, and he was like, "You're different." He's like, "You are different." And we talked, and he asked about their mom, and I said, "Look, I'm raising them." He's like, "And you're in the Air Force too?" I said, "Yes." He said, "So that's when he said, hey, when you decide to get out, I want to recruit you." And he
mm.
recruited me because I was raising my kids.
See, I just want to acknowledge and say this. Angels are always working,
They
but
are.
we have to be in the right frequency to receive it.
Yes.
It's so many times that people have pushed their blessing away, didn't say hi to their blessing, and not saying it won't come around again, but it
Mhm.
seemed to be that you had the knack to be aware of your blessing.
I always say God gives me discernment. God says to me, and like I said, everybody's not for me. And this guy just happened to be a president of a casino. He was brought out by Steve Wynn. I didn't know any of that about this guy, but I know that those are the people who could reach me. And I had to understand it more later on too. Like not everybody can reach you. So when those people came and I said, and a lot of people got offended. Well, Shaundell, I was trying to tell you this and you trying to do that. I said, well, yeah, but for some reason, God didn't give me the message, the same memo he gave you. Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, so I live in a different space in my, I used to feel like in my head, I would live in a different space, but then I realized that I am in a different space and God has different spaces for all of us.
yes,
And you have to appreciate him, but
yes,
also you have to pay attention to what's real versus what is not real.
yeah. And I think that's discernment, and that's something that has to be built up, and it has to be able to, you have to be able to tap into it naturally. And once you get it, someone can come and say something to you, and it
Mhm.
sounds like to everybody else the best thing, and you say, That doesn't sit with me. And to me, that is discernment, and that's the spiritual connection you had to God to say, that's not for you. Keep it moving.
And can I tell you, Alima, that I've met other people that um I go, wow, I'm glad God didn't connect. I didn't line up with that person, right? And I met Diddy when he was back and doing his thing with what were they called then?
The
The
bad boys.
Bad Boys. Yeah, before
Yes.
all that. I remember because my brother was dancing with them at the Apollo and
Wow.
going to Howard and doing all that. So I remember meeting people like that, and God didn't say join up with that person. I met Suge here at UNLV. A lot of the guys that I played football with, um, most of them were from Long Beach, which is wild. Most of them were from Long Beach. So we met Suge when he was playing football, and then he was a bodyguard, and then when he started bad, no, not
Death
No Label,
row.
but Death Row,
Uh-huh.
he actually gave them stuff, and part of his thing, but God didn't align me with him either.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I say to people, sometimes you may think you're supposed to go somewhere, but you pay attention to what God is saying to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a wonderful point just for people, period, to understand what's for you is for you. And I can relate. I had a opportunity to do something with a particular person, and they kept like, we got to do it, we got to do it, we got to do it. So the one time I did say, oh, okay, here you go, I never heard anything crickets. So for me, I never take it personally. I say, okay, it wasn't meant to be. When I tell you on everything I love, the stuff that I found out, I said, oh God, thank you for the protection. So we have to understand that sometimes what we think is rejection is nothing but protection.
Amen. Amen to that. Yes, that's
Yes.
facts. Facts.
So just that, just so we can be aware of, the process. So I know, I can talk to you forever because we both love music, and I love hearing individuals' background and their history. But before I have a couple more questions, but I do want to talk about this book that
Mhm.
came out in, if I'm not mistaken, 2018. Is that correct?
The ultimate measure or
No,
the 12
the
steps.
yes,
Okay.
was it 2018, correct?
It's 2017, 18, one of them. Yeah,
Okay.
it comes together. Yeah.
So I want you to tell me what made you say I'm gonna sit down and do it. There's always a story behind a story.
Well, for me, it was about like how can we help small business owners to realize success and their true value. So I created the 12 steps of marketing. So there's a process as opposed to everybody just saying, "Hey, I'm gonna, go get my signage here. I'm gonna get some business cards. I'm gonna get a website." What I saw was a lot of fraud, and I
Mm,
saw people losing money. People saying, "I'm gonna put you at the top of Google. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that." So when I started, I thought about the process of station casinos. I studied the brand of Walmart, Apple, all these businesses that once upon a time were small businesses. And I said, what did they do? The first thing that they did was identify who they were going to be in the market.
mm,
And then they identified who would be their target market because you got to mirror those. And then what change or problem are they going to solve in the market? So it was those first three steps that got me thinking there's a process to this. No matter whether you get social media or you get traditional media, no matter what technology changes, AI, that process still exists. So that's when I created the 12 steps of marketing. The foreword is written by Dr. Robert E. Fowler Sr.
mm,
And he wrote what he thought of what how it came together. The number 12 came spiritually to me about completeness, about fulfilling, about making sure that it's the perfect process. So that's how it all came together. I was on a cruise, 7-day cruise, and it all came to me that this is how I could help small businesses, and this is how the casinos actually they're recession proof because they will always have customers coming in and they will always have repeat customers. And that's what you need to do to succeed as a small business.
Wow, wow. Well, listen, you have a chess piece on there, not checkers. So you playing chess, not
I'm playing
checkers.
chess. Yeah, and many people ask me about the queen, and people got to understand that that's what marketing is. Marketing impacts everything. It on the chessboard, the queen moves wherever the queen wants to move.
Okay, I'm gonna pause you, sir. Can you say that one more time for the people in the way back? Say that again.
The queen moves wherever she wants to move. The queen on a chessboard has unlimited movement. She can move wherever she needs to move, wherever she can move, wherever she wants to move. So, and once you capture the queen, typically you're pretty much dead in the water. So
Mm,
that's why we always keep the chess piece, the queen on the board, so that your business can survive a great recession, a global pandemic, an economic downturn, a death of a key person. It will survive all of that.
yes. That's definitely a perspective, and I'm glad that you shared that. I just had to throw my little piece in about the woman moving across the board.
I already told you about Arlene, right? Yeah, that Arlene.
Yes. Well, I mean, come
Newsome.
on, you surrounded by strong women, so
Yes,
you
by
understand that
design.
process. Yes, yes, for sure. So, in this current market right now today, let's do a projection for the next 5 years of what you see or what you want to inject into the market so anybody can get to the next 5 years if it's small business. Give me a perspective.
Well, the perspective is that technology is going to take another leap. It's been taking leaps forever, right? We went from the phone in the house with the long cord to cell phones. We went from CDs to live streaming. We went from traditional television and broadcast to streaming channels and apps. So the business, the part will always be the same is you run a restaurant, for example. That restaurant is going to serve food. But as technology evolves, that restaurant still has to have a character that attracts people. And people have to feel value and they have to feel love and they have to feel like you care. So that part will never change, whether you're writing down their order on a pad or you're using an iPad. The piece that's going to happen is your character. So small businesses have to focus on the character of their business, on the brand, which is bigger than the logo and the tagline. It's what you can do every single day to wow people.
I listen, I'm not just saying this to say that. I really believe in that because the human connection is the customer service, and the customer service is the part that draws people to you. To this day, I know a place that sells great food, but I'm not getting ready to go in there and put my money down because I cannot get the full customer immersive. I can't eat food that I know I'm going to get nasty customer service.
Hmm.
So I think that's a wonderful way to give to anybody that has a business or working for a business that it has to be forward facing people first because everything else, like you said, will continue to change.
Hmm. Yeah, it will all evolve, and whether if you're a real estate agent or you're a banker or whatever your business is, it's all about how people feel, right? That's what Maya Angelou talked about is, people will forget what you said or forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you make them feel. And so
Yeah.
that's what I always look at is how do people feel when they experience your company or your service?
Yes, I think that's absolutely wonderful. I could keep you forever, but we're going to get one more question. Before we get one more question out of you, if anybody that sees this podcast and they want to tap in and use your services or get some guidance or whatever, can you provide all your social media handles and any other information they can connect with you?
Sure, sure. So, one thing my granddaughter created was the new network. The new network allows anyone to connect with me for free in this space. It's pretty much where you can talk and throw your ideas up in that space, and I will connect with you. Or she has a lot of different ways that you can get the same value from me. She created a bot, and I'm not going to go into details with AI, but the new network is one space. The Some New Solution Zone is a space where you can come in and get personal attention, and you can get the 12 steps of marketing on a self-paced course. And then Some New Marketing, we have many different services that are specifically designed to help small business owners.
So, real fast, if say Halima knew, have an idea, haven't quite developed the idea, but has, missing pieces to it, would I be able to come sit down with you, have a consultation where you can say, hey, you do have something, but let's fill in the gaps here? Do you provide that type of service as well?
We do. I wouldn't say necessarily sit down with me. Most
Well,
people would
yes, sir.
that. That's why I think that's why Maya and Tiara Flynn is my daughter, Amaya Eden Glover is my granddaughter. They came together to say it's impossible for you to meet with all the people that want to meet with you, but
True.
here's what we'll do. They put out this new network and the Some New Solution Zone. And then occasionally there is a time when I pop in and go, okay, let me meet these people. Or she says, they tell me, again, the women lead me.
Smart
You
man.
go, we want you to meet with these folks, so I'll meet with folks. But that's really how you get all of me, and then that's how you build what I call a relationship with me is by first going in that space, even if your idea is not baked all the way out. Get in there. They will, if I see and notice that you're really, really, really climbing to that space you want to get your business done, then they will identify too and say, hey, this person needs you.
Yeah. So just so everybody knows, go through the chain of command, okay? He has other things on his plate. He will pop in as he deemed necessary, but you have more than capable team. I've worked with your daughter. She's been on every episode of my podcast with
Oh,
her section of what she do along with what she do with you. So I know they are more than capable to support the process, so to speak, right?
yeah, and it's realistic expectations. I don't want to tell somebody I'm going to meet with them and then I can't. So
Of
that's
course.
that's when she thought of it. They were just like, hey, we want to make sure that people can get the
Yeah.
12 steps of marketing is all me. My granddaughter is all me. My daughter is all me. So they've been around me forever. So they know, and they've been involved in the business. My granddaughter just made 9 years and she started high
Wow.
school. Tiara's been there to 20 years. So
Wow.
they all have they understand exactly. And Raven's been there now 7 or 8 years. And
Your other
so,
daughter, huh?
yeah, my other daughter, right? The doppelganger, they call themselves.
Yes.
But every single one of them, and I was so proud this morning. I woke up to a video that the team, we've been working the last 6 or 7 years to get the team to evolve, just like Sam Walton is living no more. Sam Walton is Walmart. Walt Disney never got to see Disneyland. So we're not playing on the thing where I'm no longer there and the business folds. I hate seeing that in Vegas. I've seen so many businesses that failed and been gone once the founder was gone. I don't plan on going anywhere for a little while, but
Say
I
that.
want to make sure that if I decide to retire or pull and they've been pulling me back slowly, going back to what my wife said, like they're very, very capable and they want me around for a long time, not just for some new, they want me around for my grandkids and so forth.
Yes, yes. Well, I think that's wise, and I think that's the evolution of business, correct?
Yes, yes. And that's the thing. I don't have any ego where I have to be in the mix all the time. And I think that is what people struggle with is They said, "Well, you're a small business." I said, "Yeah, but we're grown now. We're 20 years old. We're not we ain't teenagers no more."
Okay, say that. So, can you just throw out the websites just in case,
Mhm.
or a phone number, or whatever you like to do just in case someone wanted to get in touch?
On all social channels, there's some new marketing, SUMNU marketing. All social channels on LinkedIn, IG, and on Facebook. So you're able to get that. And then same thing with the Some New Solution Zone. That is more of a personalized entrepreneurial panel. And then the new network is folded up in there. So it's all on all networks and on the websites. On the Some New Marketing website will take you to all of that.
Awesome. Well, we're going to end this with one last music question. You know that, right?
Okay. All right.
So, this season is about self discovery. We
Yeah.
all have to have that moment when we sit and we rediscover ourselves for the betterment
Mhm.
of ourselves.
Okay.
Can you identify a song that you can dedicate to the world that you have discovered about yourself, a part of your self discovery?
There's a song that I heard a few years ago on KCP that really, really touched my spirit, and it's "All My People" by Kindred Soul. I want all the people around me, everybody living good, everybody eating good, everybody chilling. I love that song.
Listen, it don't get no better than that. He
Yeah.
said, I want all my people around me. That means to me, my environment, not just me elevating, I want the environment around me to be elevated as well. And then when you do that, I believe it's a certain amount of peace that you take
Yes.
in.
Yeah,
So,
Alima, I'll give you, and I don't know if we'll give you some breaking news is that we're going to be doing a groundbreaking soon on a new office on J Street in Owens. And that office is going not only going to be our office space, but it's also going what we're going to call the E Center. I am going to teach young people, young adults, and adults as well, but young adults I'm going to focus on because entrepreneurship is about that, taking care of your people. It does, everybody else might do it a different way. They may want to be powerful or make billions, but for us, the real wealth comes in how many people you help and you lift up and you grow within your community. So that's the premise of what we're going to be doing real soon.
oh, well, congratulations. And I love that. And if I can piggyback off that, I always talk about us having a plate. If I give you a plate of food and I know what you like and what you like, I put on there. That plate of food would protect you, but it will also serve me in the future because now you have all the nutrients, you have all the things you need. And now when I'm over here and I need a little bit of help because you full, you now can help me. And I believe that's what we have to learn to do to continue. It's a continuous cycle when you do it right with elevation and uplifting each other.
Yes, exactly. I always say I'm not going to give you breadcrumbs because that'll just get you to one point. I'm going to give you a loaf of bread so you can eat for a while.
I know that's right. I love that. Well, I have had such a wonderful time. I really truly thank you for sharing your perspective, your music, your background with me. Um, Before we get out of here, I always talk about the journey and the destination. The journey is where we learn and where we grow, and the destination is where we celebrate. I see too many times people in the journey and they don't go to the destination. You got to celebrate. You got to be able to do it. If you don't really, from my perspective, you don't really get a chance to appreciate what you've done. Now,
Yes,
the key to it is you can't be partying all day long and you lose where you at. You got to get back into that journey so you can continue to learn, grow, elevate. So I say all that to say, when I have my women on, I bow to them. But when I have my men on, I salute. So I'm going to salute you 2 times. One for coming on and one for being a veteran. So, sir,
Thank you. Back. Thank you.
thank you. And last words always go to my guests. So whatever you would like to share.
I would always share that when you think about an entrepreneurial journey, especially, it's about selfless. It's being selfless. The world is very selfish, but you have to carve out this special space that is selfless and caring about others above yourself. So the Bible says, do nothing out of selfish ambition and vain conceit. Put others above yourself. So that's what I'll leave with.
I love it. I love it. You guys, what a better way to end this podcast. You guys, please put your hands together and thank our special guest, Mr. Shaundell Newsome. And as I say to all my guests, I'll see you out here in these Las Vegas streets.